Welcome to the Cover 4 podcast. I'm Nolan Kangas alongside Bradshaw Furlong, Luca, Moia, and Jeff Wall. Guys, fun little show we're going to have today. We're going to stick with sort of the rookie topics, the draft. It was a couple weeks ago, but rookie mini camps are picking up in full speed. We've seeing, I don't know if you guys get excited about this, but I kind of do, seeing the rookie numbers, and now that the NFL has allowed players to wear single digits, seeing what the rookies are going to go with. So that's kind of fun stuff. But we're going to talk more stuff on the field, some predictions with the quarterbacks, the running backs, the receivers. We're going to talk about the defensive players, of course, who's going to rack up the most sacks, the most interceptions, all of that stuff. So guys, let's get started. We'll go with the most important position in the sport, quarterback. Who is going to be the rookie quarterback touchdown leader? Last year, of course, it was Justin Herbert, a record, I believe, 31 passing touchdowns. Don't know if we're going to see that this season because that was pretty phenomenal. But Bradshaw, get me started. Who is your quarterback who's going to lead the way?
I think Jeff might disagree with you that the most important position on the field is the quarterback. They're not the quarterback of the defense, though, let me tell you. The quarterback that I think has had the most touchdowns this year, to the dismay of Jeffrey Wall, Trevor Lawrence. I think he's just I think he'll have the opportunity right away from day one to be able to do that. I think there's questions if Justin Fields will play right away. Obviously, I don't think Trey Lance is going to be playing right away. And then if it's just coming down to Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence every single time. No disrespect to Zach Wilson. I think he'll have a pretty solid season. I think they've done a really good job building around him. But I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence. I think, again, the combination of the opportunity and some of the talent around him and the talent he possesses himself, I think for me, it was a pretty obvious choice, but Trevor Lawrence.
Luca, Bradshaw went with the number one overall pick. Where are you standing on this?
I agree with him for all the reasons he pointed out, because he's probably going to be the surefire starter. We don't know about all these other quarterbacks. Like, will Mac Jones going to start over Cam? I doubt it. Trey Lance probably going to sit behind Garoppolo. Justin Fields is probably the closest one that can challenge him, I think. But again, will he start in Chicago? We don't know. And so what he said is correct. Wilson, Lawrence, I'm going to take Lawrence as well.
All right, Jeff, what do you have?
This is really tough for me. I guess the only reason why I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence and just make it 3 for 3 so far is just because, well, one, he has pretty good weapons. DJ Chark's a good weapon for sure. I was hesitant because I thought they might run the ball a lot, but also that division, just the defenses are horrible. So I think he's going to be able to throw a lot of touchdowns. And then, you know what, as well, I don't think the defense is good enough. So he's going to have to throw in other games as well, where I think he's just going to have the most opportunity. Zach Wilson, though, I would not be surprised either, though. I think they, like you guys have said, they built around him really well. So, yeah, I mean, wouldn't be surprised. But the other three, like you guys said, we have no idea when they're starting. So they're pretty much out of it for me.
I'll make it a grand slam breakfast. I'm going to say Trevor Lawrence as well. And you guys have basically hit on every single thing, right? He's got some weapons around him. The defense is Houston's going to be a nightmare. Tennessee, if they fix their defense enough, I don't know. He's going to have plenty of opportunities, right? Starts on day one. Zach Wilson, he does start on day one. You're going against New England, who's going to have a good defense. You're going against the Bills, who hopefully their defense can get back to the form we've seen in the past. And the Dolphins are going to be electric on the defensive side of the ball. Going to be tough for him. Whereas Lawrence, you're right. All the weapons. And you're right, Jeff, that scared me about the running. But guess what? Travis Etienne, he's improved catching the ball every single year in college. I'm sure they're going to throw to him quite a few times as well. So that was pretty easy. Trevor Lawrence all the way. Let's go in reverse order then. Rookie running back leader in yards. I'll get us started. Kind of again, I think it's going to be the guy who is going to be on the field for most of the time. And Naji Harris seems like he's going to be starting day one. And they like running the ball. They still need some help on that offensive line, and that was what the struggle was last year for James Conner. But Naji Harris, I think he'll be the rookie running back leader in rushing yards. Will he, pass 1,000 yards? I do not know. Last year was fine with James Robinson or Jonathan Taylor, who was electric at the end of the year. Don't know if we get a running back, a rookie, eclipsing 1,000 yards this season, but I think Naji Harris will be the closest. Jeff, what about you?
I'm going to go with Javonte Williams, running back out of Denver. We all know Drew Lock sucks as a passer, no matter how many good weapons they have, no matter how much they build up that offensive line. And Vic Fangio, very, very traditional coach. I think he's also just going to say, you know what? We don't have Aaron Rodgers. This guy's getting the rock almost every time. And even if they get Aaron Rodgers some way, somehow, I still think they're going to run the ball a lot. I still think they're going to want to control the clock, with great offenses like Kansas City. Even, I think to an extent, I think the Raiders might be throwing the ball a lot if Josh Jacobs doesn't do well. And then you got Justin Herbert, who could really light things up. So I think they're going to want to control the ball, control the time of possession and allow their defense to just get home with their rushers and their great pass defense. So give me Javonte Williams over the other guys. I just think his situation's a little bit better as well.
It's an interesting situation as well. Clearly, Denver wanted to trade up because they liked him a ton. So Melvin Gordon, what's going to be the situation there in Denver? But yeah, Williams is certainly a fun pick. Luca, what about you?
I have Naji Harris as well, and I think it's probably just because of the usage rate. We're hearing that they want to go back to what they had with Bell. I mean, it's kind of be hard to go back to that when your offensive line isn't as good as it was. But I think now with a new offensive coordinator, they're going to try to be more, not one-dimensional like we saw last year. It's a bunch of third and five, bubble screens, slants, and you can only do so much. Juju's supposed to be playing back outside, not as much in the slot anymore. So they're trying to get back to that offense, and I think Najee Harris, he's just such a big running back that you could just pound him, keep giving him the foot. Okay, Bradshaw, don't give me that look. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, pound the rock, if I have to say it. Okay, pound the rock. You can give him the ball multiple times. He's probably going to have 250 carries, and they're going to use him out of the backfield as well. So Najee Harris, for me, I just think he's going to get the most usage out of the rookie running backs.
Dirty mind that Bradshaw has. There's 2 for Harris, 1 for Williams. Where's your mind going on this one, Brad?
I'll go with Najee Harris as well. I think, part of it is I just hope the offensive line gets him enough space to run the ball at all. But I think he also has the opportunity as well. Travis Etienne is going to be splitting time with James Robinson, and Javonte Williams has been gone over. He has the backfield mess to deal with in Denver. There's a lot of great weapons in Denver, so I think they're going to throw the ball a lot too. So I think, I hope they throw the ball a lot and get those guys some action. But I'm going to go with Najee Harris. I really hope the offensive line holds up, or what they have cobbled together to be an offensive line in Pittsburgh. But I think it'll be Najee Harris. I think Ben's arm's fallen off, so they kind of need it.
Quickly. The cat that is being crazy. Before we move on to wide receivers, quickly around the horn, a running back that went in a late round or something along that line, because we know James Robinson, right, undrafted, goes for 1,000 yards. Bradshaw, you know, the hand went up. Is there someone to you that sticks out that could have a pretty big impact as a running back? And,
yeah, a little biased, but Javien Hawkins for the Atlanta Falcons went undrafted. Smaller guy, but I mean, there is opportunity to be had in the Falcons backfield. Home run hitter for the Louisville Cardinals when he was playing there. So yeah, I think Javien Hawkins has probably the best opportunity out of anybody because there's just so much. Like, is Mike Davis going to be a 1,000-yard rusher? Probably not. So he's got the opportunity. So Javien Hawkins, my pick.
Luca, anyone come to your mind?
Not like an undrafted guy, but I think Chuba Hubbard can have a good year as well. Playing in the backfield, Christian McCaffrey, all the attention is going to be on him. Split some carries. He can have a pretty good impact as a rookie as well. Sam Darnold's there now. Offense should look a bit different, so I'm excited to see how they implement him into the offense.
Chuba's interesting, right? Because he had that year where he was in the Heisman conversation and then came back to Oklahoma State injury riddled and then pretty much opted out, I believe, like halfway through the year. Right, Jeff, what about you? A running back that went in a later round or undrafted, you think is going to have an impact and potentially be one of the leading rushers?
Well, I almost can't go too late around, but I kind of just feel like, I kind of whiffed on it, I guess, in a sense, because I feel like Trey Sermon's just going to get a ton of yards just because of the offense he's in. I feel like he's a big enough home run hitter, and he's also got a bit of a physical edge to him that the other running backs in San Fran don't have. It's tough for me to guess on a running back. To be honest, I don't really know them all that well, but Trey Sermon I definitely do know, and I feel like he'll have a pretty big impact. So I'll just go with that, with a cop-out answer there, Nolan. Sorry.
No, I don't think that's cop-out at all. And Trey Sermon he's getting a lot of potential, bets going his way for Offensive Rookie of the Year, which was surprising to me. I know when we did our draft grades, we thought, why did they draft a running back? Kyle Shanahan can make it work with anybody, but supposedly people are pretty high on him. Obviously, he had a terrific playoff until he got injured in that national championship game. But yeah, he's pretty fantastic. One I'll say Michael Carter with the New York Jets. Tevin Coleman, I don't think he's going to hold down that job. Michael Carter is a sneaky guy to start, and that's going to transition me to receivers. And I'll start it off here. I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, Elijah Moore is my guy. I have to stay with it. In the slot, and it's tough. I get Jamison Crowder's there. I get, obviously, they paid Corey Davis. Denzel Mims, we don't know his situation right now. Obviously, he was in a horrible situation with the Jets last year, but, they spent a second-round pick on him. How can he turn out this year? We'll see, but Elijah Moore, really like him, right? Sure hands, can catch everything, yards after the catch. He'll be my pick, and which is surprising for, a second-rounder. But Bradshaw, who do you have? Obviously, tons of players to pick from.
I went with Rashad Bateman. I think Jeff's kind of warped my mind, but I went with Rashad Bateman. I think he's the best receiver in Baltimore now. I think that's I think most people would probably agree with that he's better than Marquise Brown at this point. So I'm going to go with Rashad Bateman. I feel like I just keep repeating myself, but he has the opportunity. And I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of these rookies is, do you have the opportunity to get these yards, to get these touchdowns? So Rashad Bateman's going to have the best opportunity, I think, out of most of the rookies. He's going to be playing on a playoff team. He's going to have Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson needs someone to throw to, and Rashad Bateman seems like as good of a target as anybody. So I'm going to go with Rashad Bateman.
Obviously, the Ravens, they went and got Sammy Watkins as well, but clearly they didn't think that was enough, right? They spent that first rounder on Bateman, who's going to be fun in Baltimore. Luca, what about you?
My pick might be a year too early, but I'm going to go with Jalen Waddle because Kyle Fuller's on a 1-year deal. And I'm going with him because I just think he might not have like 5 receptions every game for 82 yards, but he'll have 1 reception for 90 yards. And that's just like kind of the high risk, high reward I'm kind of banking on. Tua's chemistry with him is back. The offense is looking pretty good around Tua. They're trying to surround him with more weapons. And I think just his average yards per catch will be so good that he should be in the conversation to lead the rookies in yards.
I don't think that's a year too early at all, right? Devontae Parker, fine receiver, but I don't think he meshes well with Tua, where Tua is to find the guy quickly and fire a dart in at that short range. That's Jalen Waddle-esque, right? A little slant over the middle and see you later. Jalen Waddle isn't Jeff's guy per se, but Jeff, who is your guy of the receiver class that you think is going to lead the way?
Okay, I'm going to go with a bit of a sleeper. I would typically go with Rashad Bateman just because it just seems so obvious. Lamar Jackson's going to want to get Rashad Bateman the ball a ton. But I don't know if you know this, but the Detroit Lions are awful. And
are they?
Yeah, they're pretty bad, I heard.
Oh,
and they also lost, I think, most of their good receivers. And so there was a guy picked in the 4th round, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who people kind of like, and I like him too. He's not the biggest burner, but he's got some speed. And I think like he's one of those guys that's going to be like a Cortland Sutton where he just comes out late, not early pick guy, but he's going to really do a lot of damage in this NFC North. The one thing obviously is that the defenses are pretty good, but I think he'll still have opportunities elsewhere. Right. And I think when it comes to rookies, I find rookie receivers don't usually light up the world first year. Like they're not bad. They're not tight ends or anything like that. But I do find you always get like these sneaky late round guys that tend to do a lot, especially when they're just like Bradshaw was saying, super high usage. And I think Jared Goff's just going to find a home with him really early.
It's funny that none of us said, Devonta Smith, who's going to be the clear cut number 1, probably in Philadelphia. Jamar Chase, that is a loaded wide receiver group there, but that's tough, right? Some good defenses in that division. And also, Tyler Boyd, really, really good. T. Higgins had a great year last year. So none of us said any of those 2 guys, which is a little surprising. But I do think it's tough. You look at the last couple of seasons, right? Justin Jefferson was the guy, and none of us really thought he would be, the leader in yards, right? Because we thought Adam Thielen's there. There's other players who were picked before him. Henry Ruggs was going to be the number 1 guy. Jerry Jeudy could have been the number 1, number 2. Obviously, had a horrible quarterback situation. But we'll see about all those ones. Amon-Ra St. Brown is certainly an interesting one, Jeff, but I think you're right. That wide receiver group might be the worst in football. So he'll definitely get some PT. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Rookie leader in sacks. This was tricky. Luca said before the show it was the toughest one. So, Luca, let's go with you. Who did you have?
Okay, thanks. I was really close, and this is going to probably shock you guys to going with Joseph Osai from Cincinnati, but I didn't do it. Nolan, I didn't do it. I'm going to go with Kwity Paye. And the reason I'm going with Kwity Paye is because I think with DeForest Buckner there, a lot of the attention is on him, and he might have a lot of one-on-one situations, and it's going to be up to him to capitalize on it. They have a really good defense. Darius Leonard can blitz the hell out of an offense. Like, he can just get there. And so I think Kwity Paye is going to have a good opportunity to do some good things. Indianapolis seemed to really like him. I don't know if you guys saw the draft call, but the owner went on for like 5 minutes talking about, hey, man, it's 4th down. We need the quarterback. We're coming to you. We trust you. This guy hasn't even played a snap of practice yet, and he's talking about taking him down in the championship game. So they obviously have really, really high hopes for him. And I think if it's all on Kwity Paye to do it, and he was pretty good at Michigan, and I think he will.
Yeah, that was the tough one for me, is kind of Kwity Paye or the field, because obviously he's going to be in a really good defense, and they're going to count on him to be that number 1 edge. Jeff, who did you have?
Well, I'm going to stick with my guy that I've been on the whole draft, Jalen Phillips in Miami. You know, the fact is, I just think, well, for one, I think he's got probably one of the best secondaries to back him up. And I think that means the most. And I would also say, too, that, like, I don't know, I find, well, you got Josh Allen, who was amazing against pressure, and you wonder if that can last. So I guess I'm gambling on that. And then also, too, I just think that, you know, with other, like, you got Cam, Mac Jones can't move. And then obviously Zach Wilson to a degree, unless he really is the guy we saw at BYU early, he's going to take a few sacks as well. So I think it's going to be very close, honestly, for the race for sacks, just because obviously it's 1 digit every time pretty much. So I think it's going to be fairly close, but if I had to go with a guy, I'll go with Jalen Phillips.
I'll do the same. I'm going to go Jalen Phillips as well. I think of this class, he's the most polished, where some of the other edge rushers are more there, you know, banking on their athleticism to get after the quarterback. What was the only issue of Jalen Phillips? It was the health concerns, right? Whether that means he's going to have a shorter career, hopefully not, but he's going to be really fun, especially in Miami, where Flores is just going to make him, you know, into a star in that defense. Bradshaw, we got a Kwity Paye, a Jalen Phillips, another Phillips. Who do you have?
Stick with Luca. I got to stick with my guy, Kwity Paye, as well. I think that I love the talent that Kwity Paye has, and I love the athleticism. He's such a freak of nature as an athlete. I have a hard time believing that the Colts won't be able to find ways to make him successful. And like Luca said, playing with DeForest Buckner is going to open up a lot of opportunity for him as well. I'm going to go with Kwity Paye. It was between Phillips and Paye, obviously, and I'm going to bet on the guy that I had number 1 for all the pass rushers. So give me Kwity Paye.
All righty, 2 for Paye, 2 for Phillips. Bradshaw, let's go back to you. We're going to do rookie leader in tackles. It could go, you know, obviously a few different directions. Linebackers, is there going to be a safety who's going to be playing in the box and helping out? Who's going to be that guy for you?
I'm going to go with this was the toughest one for me because there's so many linebackers that have so many opportunities, but I'm going to go with Jamin Davis. I think Jamin Davis, again, it's an opportunity thing. I think they used a top 20 pick on him. They're certainly going to want to get him on the field, and he has all the speed, the athleticism. He's going to be able to make the tackles like sideline to sideline, all the stuff you want. I'm going to go with Jamin Davis. I think the opportunity will be there for him with Washington. I think on that defense, I think he'll have plenty of tackles to be made.
Luca, what about you?
I agree. Me and Brad are 2 for 2 in the last 2 picks, and I think it's because of what he said. That defense is so good that I think he's going to be put in a lot of positions to just kind of plug some holes. Just do what he has to do. He's going to be in the right position. Ron Rivera's a great head coach, and I just think he's just fit to do really good things. And plus, that division is not the best, so he's going to have a lot of opportunities to feast on those offenses. But they get better. I'm not just gonna come on here and shit on the NFC East, but they did get a little bit better, and I think Davis could be that guy to lead the team in tackles.
I'm gonna leapfrog Jeff here. I had Davis as well. I think the situation is pretty perfect for him. The betting odds are, you know, almost in his favor to end up being defensive rookie of the year because he's going to have so much help in that Ron Rivera defense. And look at those offenses he's facing. Philadelphia, you don't know what they're going to look like. But again, you have a running quarterback, and hopefully they hand the ball off to Miles Sanders quite a bit. That'll help Davis rack up some tackles. The Cowboys, they still like handing it off to Zeke. There's some tackles there. And the New York Giants, you don't know what the hell they're going to look like, but that should certainly help Davis. Jeff, we got 3 for Davis. Where are you going to go?
I was, debating between Davis and JOK. The reason why I won't go with JOK is because I think if he is in coverage a lot, he's just going to be locked down for the most part. I think he's obviously not going to be perfect, but I think he will not, in a sense, like be constantly tackling guys. I think Jamin Davis is going to be going side to sideline. The one edge I think JOK would have is just I think his division's going to run the ball a little more, which is why I kind of wanted to side with that. But I'll go with Davis. I do think Davis is really, really good. People were kind of baffled at the pick over JOK, but I do understand it. And like you guys said, I think, especially the quarterbacks are just not very good in this division either. Saquon Barkley's there as well, although he's going to be tough to tackle still, I would imagine. And even, to an extent, I think the Cowboys will give him lots of opportunities to make lots and lots of tackles. And he's just one of those guys like Devin White, where he's just going to be all over the field just because he is so explosive as an athlete. So I'll take Jamin Davis as well for the clean sweep.
Yes, you took the words right out of my mouth. A clean sweep there for Davis. No one going with Micah Parsons, which is pretty interesting. He was obviously the first linebacker off the board. And that leads me to the first corner off the board. The rookie leader in interceptions, I'm going to go JC Horn for the Panthers. One, I think he's going to start. And two, look at that division and all the receivers. There's going to be opportunities, right? He's going to have to line up against Michael Thomas. The ball, especially Jameis Winston throwing the ball, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to potentially pick off a quarterback. Tom Brady, we saw in the beginning of the season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he had some issues, obviously figured it out in the end, winning a Super Bowl, but lots of weapons in Tampa Bay. Opportunities for JC Horn to maybe get his hand on the ball. And obviously the Atlanta Falcons, they like throwing the ball a ton. Bradshaw knows that, tons of weapons. I think Horn is going to be the guy here to potentially lead in interceptions, but I wouldn't be surprised if you went a different way. Tons of other corners, also some safeties in this class too that could help out. Jeff, who did you have?
Well, I think I might be stealing one of Bradshaw's guy, but I loved his dad when he was playing and just his aggressive play and his really good hands. I'm going to go with Asante Samuel Jr. I just think, especially, in that division where they're throwing the ball a good amount, I would imagine he's an aggressive guy. He's just going to get more opportunities. I don't think his style is going to change right off the bat. I don't think he's going to shell up and be conservative. I think he's going to keep being that kind of ball hawking defensive back there. And I just think that I think the one thing I was thinking about JC Horn too as well, Nolan, and I think especially like you mentioned, great example with Tom Brady. But I just wonder, hey, like there's a reason why he plays defensive back. It's because his hands aren't as good, right? He's really good at defending passes. I don't know if he's good at catching them every single time. So that gives me, that leads me to Asante Samuel Jr.
Okay. Luca, what about you?
Okay, I'm going to kind of go off the board here. I don't know if this is sleep. I'm going Greg Newsome from the Cleveland Browns. I love his upside. And I think when you look at the defense and you look at the division as well, like what we've been doing kind of all episode, Ben's arm's kind of dead. We don't know what we're going to get with Lamar. And Joe Burrow's probably going to have to throw under pressure every single pass. So for me, they're so loaded. Grant Delpit's coming back. He was a high recruit safety from LSU. You got him, John Johnson, Troy Hill, Denzel Ward. He's going to kind of be the guy under the radar. He might not necessarily have to cover the best guy on the best team. So I think that might give him opportunities, put in the best position because they're going to throw away from guys like that. And he's going to have to face a lot of one-on-one matchups. I think he'll do pretty good. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to go with Newsome here.
That's a fun pick with Newsome. Bradshaw, Jeff took your guy. Did you go with your guy on this one, or did you go a different route?
He did. The bald man took my corner for this pick. Asante Samuel Jr. I think he's just such a perfect fit for that defense. And like Jeff said, he's such a ball hawking player, and he has those instincts. He's always going for the big play. And I think they're not going to want him. They're not going to want him to get away from that. That's what made him special. That's what makes Asante Samuel Sr. and Jr. That's what makes them both special. Is they both like to go after the big play and they both like to go after the ball. And I think that's going to continue. And I think he's going to have plenty of chances with how many teams are throwing in that division, and also the Chargers secondary. Aside from Chris Harris, he's going to be able to have a chance to kind of make the opportunity for himself if he wants it. So give me Asante Samuel Jr.
No one going with Patrick Surtain. I think, one, it's going to be tough getting on the field in Denver because they are absolutely loaded. But again, that could be another sneaky one if he gets on the field. This one was the toughest, I found. The rookie with the biggest impact on a potential playoff team. You can't really go with Trevor Lawrence, right? Because Jags aren't going to make the playoffs. Obviously, not going to go with Zach Wilson. There's going to be, I'd be surprised if we all had the same player here. But I will get us started, and hopefully I'm not taking someone's guy because I know this is someone's favorite player. I'm going to go JOK, Jeremiah Sakuramoa. I think the rookies for Cleveland are going to be relied on quite a bit. So I was actually going back and forth with Newsome and JOK. But in this division, I think they have a shot to win it. I think they're clearly a playoff team, and I think JOK is going to have to be the guy in the playoffs who's going to have to cover a Travis Kelsey. Because I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, that's going to be the AFC Championship game. And Travis Kelsey ends up killing most defenses. Obviously, he was held in check a little bit in that Super Bowl, but I'm going to go JOK. Fell in the draft. There was the heart concerns. Guess what? He's going to be coming with a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to be the most impact player on a potential playoff team. Bradshaw, what about you?
I'll quickly mention. I'll quickly get through my pick, and then I want to mention someone else, just as kind of like a sleeper kind of pick. I'm double dipping. I'm going to go with Rashad Bateman. I think it just makes sense that if he's going to have the most yards, he's going to be the biggest impact on a potential playoff team. What do the Ravens need more than anything on that team? Receiving help. He's the best receiver on the team. I've already talked about how good he's going to be in that offense. I don't need to do it again. Rashad Bateman is going to have the biggest impact. Sleeper pick. If the Falcons were to make the playoffs, Richie Grant is going to be the biggest impact on a potential playoff team because he's going to be the best safety out there. And by God, they need safety help. And he's going to he'll help fix that defense. So I think he'll be one of the biggest factors. And if they make the playoffs, it'll be in large part because of Richie Grant helping the defense.
That is the thing. Because this is a team that I messaged it to the group. I said, there's a chance that the Falcons on their schedule, one of the easiest ones in football, there's 13 winnable games to meet. But again, we know the Falcons. We would not be surprised if they ended up finishing with 6-7 wins. Luca, what about you?
Okay, I'm going with Rashawn Slater for the Chargers. Offensive lineman. I know it might be a little bit surprising, but you look at, I always try to judge quarterbacks on their second year, right? They got film on them now. You kind of know what to expect from them. But Justin Herbert now, he's going to have more protection, right? Austin Eckler, will he be there all year? Because Rashawn Slater is going to help out the run game as well, take some pressure off of him. They drafted Josh Palmer. So the offense is looking good. And now Herbert has more time. And I think it's all up to Slater to give him that time to develop even better than what he was last year. He's Offensive Rookie of the Year. He had a great year last year, and he was pressured one of the most in the NFL, not just as rookies, in the NFL. So if their left tackle of the future can protect him, give him more time, there's a chance they can duel it out with Kansas City for the division.
I don't think Slater's a bad pick at all. I think it's going to be interesting you banking on the Chargers being a potential playoff team. Maybe it's a year too early, but we really do not know. That'll be a fun one for sure, though. Jeff, to finish us off, who's the player for you?
You guys pretty much took everybody from me, but you know what? Just because I like to be different, you definitely took my guy JOK, but I'm going to give you another one just because why not? I think the Miami Dolphins defense is that good. I'm double dipping with Jalen Phillips. I just think he is the most complete pass rusher, still like athletic. I think he's kind of being overshadowed because there is so many good athletes, but he's still a very good athlete in my opinion. And I think he's just going to be that guy who can come up with that like well-timed sack to end a drive. Right. And we know that pressure is king in the NFL. Brian Flores just loves to dial up pressure in Miami. And I think, in the sense of making the biggest impact would be like an upset win in my opinion. Right. So I think Miami, no matter what, they're going to be an upset, and I think their defense is what's going to help them. And I think Jalen Phillips will be kind of the nail in the coffin for whatever team that they end up beating.
Like that pick. Obviously, that defense, they're loaded in the secondary. The linebackers, they're pretty solid, but they needed that edge rusher. I think Jalen Phillips brings that. That's going to do it for another Cover 4 podcast. Sticking with the rookies, guys. That was a fun one for sure. We're going to have more fun stuff coming in a few later episodes, but the rookies have been kind of the bulk of the conversation of late, but for good reason. They are a really fun bunch and a phenomenal class. So that's going to do it. It's Bradshaw. There's Luca. That's Jeff. I'm Nolan. This is the Cover 4 podcast.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Lingo Sports and Lingo News for a whole lot more just like this.